Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter-Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Going to go back 87 years this hour to June 11th, 1935, the West Coast program Calling All Cars, and the episode Hot Blondes dealing with Pretty Boy Floyd. There's a name a lot of you haven't heard in a very, very long time. Yes. I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in on this Saturday. This is the 11th day of June, 162nd day of the year, 203 days remaining. John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, Roger L. Livingston, Thomas Jefferson appointed a committee to draft a Declaration of Independence back in 1776. U.S. warships sailed on this date in 1898 to Cuba in the Spanish-American War. Charles Lindbergh received the first Distinguished Flying Cross ever awarded back in 1927.
On behalf of his own people, who have a deep affection for him and have been thrilled by his splendid achievements, and as President of the United States, I bestow the Distinguished Flying Cross as a symbol of appreciation for what he is and what he has done upon Colonel Charles A. Lindbergh. Intelligent, industrious, energetic, dependable, purposeful, alert, quick of reaction, serious, deliberate, stable, efficient, frank, modest, congenial, a man of good moral habits and regular in his business transactions. When I landed at Le Bourget a few weeks ago, I landed with the expectancy and the hope of being able to see Europe. It was the first time I had ever been abroad. And I wasn't in any hurry to get back. And I was informed that while it wasn't in order to come back home, that there'd be a battleship waiting for me next week.
President Calvin Coolidge and Charles Lindbergh back in 1927. Frank Morris, John Anglin, Charles Anglin became the only prisoners to successfully escape from Alcatraz on this date in 1962. Alabama Governor George Wallace stood at the door of Foster Auditorium at the University of Alabama on this date in 1963 in an attempt to block two black students from attending that school. That same date, President Kennedy announced a civil rights bill.
We are confronted primarily with a moral issue. It is as old as the Scriptures and is as clear as the American Constitution. The heart of the question is whether all Americans are to be afforded equal rights and equal opportunities, whether we are going to treat our fellow Americans as we want to be treated. If an American, because his skin is dark, cannot eat lunch in a restaurant open to the public, if he cannot send his children to the best public school available, if he cannot vote for the public officials who represent him, if, in short, he cannot enjoy the full and free life which all of us want, then who among us would be content to have the color of his skin changed and stand in his place, who among us would then be content with the counsels of patience and delay?
It would not be until after President Kennedy had been assassinated that the Civil Rights Bill would be passed by Congress. Passing away on this date in history, Daniel Carl Beard, the founder of the Boy Scouts, also the singer of Ebb Tide, Earl Grey. Marion Morrison, best known as John Wayne. DeForest Kelley, Bones from Star Trek. Also David Brinkley, Ann Rutherford, Ruby Dee, Jim Ed Brown, and The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
You put hard times on this country by taking Dusty Rhodes out. That's hard times. And we all had hard times together. I admit I don't look like the athlete of the day supposed to look. My belly's just a little big. My hind is just a little big. But brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad. And there were two bad people. One was John Wayne and he's dead, brother. And the other one's right here. Nature Boy Ric Flair. The world's heavyweight title belongs to these people. I'm going to reach out right now. I want you at home to know my hand is touching your hand for this gathering of the biggest body of people in this country, in this universe, all over the world now. Reach it out because the love that was given me, and this time I will repay you now because I will be the next world's heavyweight champion on this hard time blues.
Much like John Wayne would say, he never played the role of a character. He just played John Wayne over and over and over. And Dusty Rhodes never played the role of a character. He just played Dusty Rhodes. And that's what made him real. And any wrestler that can be real and they're part of their true self has a greater opportunity to be successful. And Dusty was a part of pop culture, and he's an icon. And was he the greatest wrestler in the ring? No. But was he as good an entertainer, performer? Absolutely. And there was nobody that could get on the mic and make you remember what he said better than the Dream.
How ironic is it that John Wayne passing away on this date in 1979 and Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, passing away on this date in 2015. Born on this date in history, Vince Lombardi, Gerald Moore, the actor, the original Sheik, Ed Farhat, actor Gene Wilder, Judd Strunk, Chad Everett, Johnny Brown. Birthday number 83 for Jackie Stewart. Joey D and the Starlighters lead, Joey D, 81. Adrienne Barbeau, 77, although some parts are much younger. Peter Bergman of All My Children and Young and the Restless, 69. House, Hugh Laurie, 63. Shia LaBeouf is 36. And from Gotham, Charlie Tahan is 24. Those just a few of the people celebrating the 11th day of June as their birthday. If this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you.
June 11th, 1935, 87 years ago, Calling All Cars here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, if you will.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back 87 years, June 11th, 1935, an episode of Calling All Cars entitled Hot Bonds.
Calling All Cars, a copyrighted program created by the Rio Grande Oil Company.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars. Attention all cars to broadcast number 81 regarding the operation of a hot bond mob operating in Los Angeles. This gang is believed to be unloading for Pretty Boy Floyd. Lefty James is handling the investigation. That is all. Berg.
Now it is our pleasure to present Captain C.B. Harrell, head of the Speed Squad of the Los Angeles Police Department. Captain Harrell.
Good evening, friends. You have often heard us plead the case of closer cooperation between the various law enforcement agencies. This is no idle preachment. The Los Angeles Police Department practices it. And now, since the federal government has begun its drive on racketeers, kidnappers, and bank robbers, it has become an increasingly pleasant duty to cooperate with G-men in their work of stamping out the gangsters. So quiet and unostentatious was the investigation we are about to dramatize for you tonight that few citizens realized at the time that our officers were combating one of the far-flung tentacles of the Pretty Boy Floyd mob. Yet, as you will see, the criminal activities of that late hoodlum and bank robber extended from his midland hunting grounds all the way to the Pacific coast.
We want to see the boss.
Why, he's not in now.
Come on. Don't hand us that stuff. He's in all right, and he'll talk to us.
Get out of
the
the way, Mug.
Hi. Hello, boys. I was just thinking of you.
Yeah, I bet.
Hey, won't you sit down?
We're only going to take a minute. And what we can say is we're going to say on our feet.
What's the idea of sending back them 5 extra barrels of beer?
Boys, I can't possibly sell more than 10 barrels a day.
From now on, you're taking 15.
Well, I can't do it, boys.
And where's your protection money? You didn't kick in this week.
Well, I don't need to pay for protection, boys. I get all the protection I need from the police.
Oh, yeah?
In that case, you better take 20 barrels a day.
I won't do it, boys. You'll ruin me.
You're taking 20 barrels a day.
I'll get my beer from somebody else first.
Is that final, Blackie?
Yes.
That's all we wanted to know.
Thus the racket, Prohibition's contribution to criminal history. Beginning with the $1 million bootleg business, it spread its tentacles to the trucking industry, the building trades, the cleaners and dyers. It strangled metropolitan America, made a travesty of American law and order, netted billions in illegal profits, created a modern robber baron, the Big Shot. Equipped with armored limousines, surrounded by vicious guardsmen, the Big Shots fought each other for supremacy.
Okay, Eddie, slow down. There's Big Tom just coming out of that apartment house. Hammy, all set?
Set.
Let him have it. Okay, Eddie, get going.
Hey, Mike, you bumped off a kid.
Well, what's the difference? I rubbed out Big Tom, didn't I?
Thus did the vengeful bullet of gangland claim innocent victims. Outraged America clamors for action, but the local authorities are powerless. Then the federal government throws its forces into the battle. At the headquarters of the Secret Service in Washington.
You sent for me, Chief?
Yeah, got a job for you.
Yes, sir?
The federal government is going into the wholesale crook catching business. They're going to clean up the racket.
On what charges? There aren't any federal laws we can get them on excepting violation of the 18th Amendment. And the government can't appropriate enough funds to bolster up the local enforcement authority.
Now, wait a minute. That's all going to be changed. The president has promised to ask Congress for more stringent legislation on a number of charges. But there's one charge we can work on right now.
What's that?
Violation of the income tax law. These gangsters are making millions, and not a single one of them is paying income tax. Go out and build up a case against them. And the Attorney General will prosecute it to the limit.
Yes, sir.
Slowly, with painstaking care, the federal investigators build their cases. One after another, the Big Shots topple, change their notorious names for numbers, file into federal penitentiaries. An awakened citizenry votes prohibition into its legislative grave. Congress makes kidnapping a federal offense. One by one, the more lucrative crimes become difficult, more dangerous to commit. But in the underworld...
Yeah, looks like they'll force us guys to go straight.
Yeah?
Yeah, there ain't no more liquor racket, and don't want to swing for kidnapping, do you?
No, but before I'd go straight, I'd snatch purses.
Yeah, that's about all that's left after the second story work.
Well, you're forgetting the place where there's a big payoff.
Yeah, what's that?
The banks. Get the door where it's kept.
Oh, that's running a chance. You might get killed.
What of it? From now on, it's them or us.
So Prohibition indirectly spawned the most daring breed of bank robbers in history. John Dillinger.
Babyface Nelson.
Pretty Boy Floyd. No cracksmen these, no snooping romantic midnight prowlers. Theirs is the direct method. Play Center, Kansas.
Well, Mr. Potts, I think we'll be able to arrange that mortgage for you.
That's fine. If I can get my hands on that money, I'll be able to put in a new silo.
Dig 'em up.
Yeah, what merciful
This is
heaven.
a heist. I'll make no passes, no burglar alarms, mister. I'll let you have it.
I wasn't.
You better not. I got men with Tommy guns all around the joint. Now shove out all the dough you got in your till there.
But...
Come on, let's have it.
All right.
It ain't much, but when we get what's in the safe...
The safe?
Sure, you left the back door open. One of my boys going through the safe now.
But all we've got back there is bonds. They belong to our customers.
Now, what do we care? They're worth dough to us.
Well, I got all there was to get, Floyd.
Good. About how much?
About $30,000.
That's fair enough. Now, listen, you two guys. My boys will be outside with their tomcats on the door. It won't be healthy for you to stick your noses out of this joint for 15 minutes.
And a few weeks later, in Sheldon, Missouri.
Now get this, folks. No cause for alarm. You'll all be quiet. Of course, if anyone gets out of line, I may have to wipe you out.
Hey, Pretty Boy, the safe's locked.
Is it very big?
No, not very big.
Okay, get some of the boys and move it out.
What?
You heard me. If we can't open their safe, we'll take it with us.
Thus, the modus operandi of the Pretty Boy Floyd mob, which swept across the Middle West during 1933 and 34. Small-town banks were their prey, and what they failed to realize on ready cash was compensated by the ease and safety of holding up these insufficiently protected institutions and the large amounts of gilt-edged securities which the safes contained. Securities representing the life savings of the merchants and farmers of these rural communities, left with the bank for safekeeping. But hot bonds are dangerous possessions. And so after a swing through Kansas and Missouri, which had shown vast paper profits, Pretty Boy Floyd packs his portfolio and visits a Mr. E.S. Wagoner in Oklahoma City.
So there you are, Elmer. 250 grand in bonds. Most of it the best paper in the world. It's Liberty bonds. How much will you give me for them?
$250,000. How much of it is in Liberty bonds?
About $230,000.
Man, that's all I'm interested in. I won't monkey with anything else.
Okay. How much will you give me for the Liberty bonds?
10 cents on the dollar.
What?
10 cents on the dollar.
But, Elmer, look here. That stuff's worth more than that. Why, lots of them never had the coupons clipped. Oh, I can't let them go for that.
That's my price.
Why, that'd mean that I'd only get 23 grand out of them holdups. And I got to cut that stuff 5 ways.
Well, that's your problem, not mine.
Well, make it 25 cents on the dollar, and I'll let you have it.
Not a penny over 10 cents.
But listen.
No use arguing, pretty boy. Those bonds are hot. Why, they're harder to get rid of than marked money. I'd rather float 5 grand of that Lindbergh ransom money than monkey around with stolen Liberty bonds.
Why?
Why? Because those bonds aren't only numbered, but they have the subscriber's signature on them. Why, you have to commit forgery to get rid of them. Another thing, there isn't a town in 1,000 miles of here where I can unload them. Those banks you lifted them from have flooded the country with descriptions and numbers of the bonds.
Yeah, but you ain't going to take no 90% discount when you unload them. You make your profit.
Sure I will.
How much?
That's my business.
Well, I think I ought to get more than 10% for them.
Maybe you think so. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not paying more. Maybe you can do better with the Cohen boys.
They'll only pay 5.
I thought you'd been shopping around. Well, you get a break then. I'll pay 10%, and I'll handle all the stuff you get at that figure.
Well, I suppose it's the best I can do.
Sure it is. And it's your own fault, too. You guys that are so anxious to make a name for yourself, you're dangerous gentlemen to do business with. If you didn't make so much fuss when you knocked over a bank, and if you didn't get your pictures in all the papers, well, I might be able to make you a better price.
Well, I'm going to get smart. I'll pull my next job at night.
Oh, no, you won't. You're more interested in your reputation as a professional bad man than you are in a payoff. You can't have both.
I don't like your lip, Elmer. If you ain't careful, I'll put you on the spot.
And sell out to the Cone boys at 5%? Oh, no. You're not going to touch me, and you know it.
Okay. It's a deal at 10%, but I think it's robbery.
Robbery? You're a fine one to talk about robbery.
From 87 years ago, June 11th, 1935, Calling All Cars here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you for making us a part of your Saturday. Coming up following the bottom of the hour break, we'll have the news from 87 years ago today and the interesting conclusion of Calling All Cars. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. This hour, an episode of Calling All Cars, going all the way back to Tuesday, June 11th, 1935. In the newspapers of that Tuesday, 87 years ago, these were some of the headlines. A scathing indictment of the New Deal, an 18-point declaration of grievances adopted with shouts of approval by the grassroots conference of Republicans from the Farm Belt states, it meeting in Springfield, Illinois. Contained in the report adopted by acclamation by an officially estimated 6,000 GOP faithful was a repeated charge of broken pledges aimed at President Roosevelt and a warning that his planned economy would spell the death of American institutions. Opponents of the administration bill to abolish public utility holding companies today beat off immediate action in the Senate on the measure by agreeing to a showdown vote tomorrow afternoon. The action taken on request of Senator Dietrich, the Democrat from Illinois, author of a dozen amendments aimed at scoping out of the measure its authority to abolish holding companies and leave the bill with little power other than to regulate interstate transmission of power. The federal government, arch foe of the kidnap racket, worked swiftly toward a cleanup of the George Weyerhaeuser abduction case, but gave evidence it considers its roundup of suspects far from complete. In a day that saw the discovery of the house in Spokane, Washington, where the 9-year-old heir to a lumber empire was held until his 8-day captivity was ended by payment of a $200,000 ransom, federal warrants charging mail fraud conspiracy issued against the 2 suspects under arrest and a third who is a fugitive. Warrants asked but refused for John Doe and divers and sundry other persons. Broken-hearted Mrs. Cleo L. Bonney, 50, gray-haired mother of Harmon M. Whaley, held as a member of the gang which kidnapped Weyerhaeuser, cried, "I don't believe it, I can't understand it," when told her son and wife had been arrested. His wife had been arrested in Salt Lake City. Meanwhile, purpling with rage, Ben B. Laska, Denver attorney, shouted a denial to a federal jury that he directed disposal of the $75,000 his kidnapped client received when the $200,000 ransom was delivered. Japanese military authorities announced that China has accepted all of Tokyo's demands concerning northern China, paving the way for establishment of a new regime under Japanese scrutiny. Tending to confirm the Chinese announcement, the Japanese announcement, the Chinese national government at Nanking issued a mandate forbidding provocative speeches and actions detrimental to the maintenance of friendly relations between China and neighboring countries. A new vitamin painkiller, pure vitamin B made into crystals, which gave wholesale relief from neuritis, announced to the American Medical Association in its scientific exhibit. These crystals are a recent new production of science and so potent that one of the size of a pinhead equal to 100 cakes of yeast in vitamin B. And those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, June 11th, 1935, on your radio calling all cars. We'll hear the conclusion next on this Saturday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just 2 of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
On Sunday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Robert Young starring in Father Knows Best. From 70 years ago, June 12, 1952, Bud is starting to feel like he's being treated too much like a kid. So his parents decide to go along with him and let him move into the room over the feed store. That's coming up on Sunday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But now, the conclusion of our Saturday edition, Calling All Cars, 87 years ago, June 11th, 1935.
3 months pass, and then one August day in 1933, Elmer Wagoner arrived in Los Angeles. Registered at a downtown hotel as E.J. Spaulding. Meets 2 friends at a speakeasy on Hill Street.
Now, you gentlemen know this town. You make the contacts. I have the bonds.
How much did you bring with you?
50 grand.
What's our cut?
I'll give each of you 10%.
Not enough. What do you think we are?
Well, boys, I had to pay 25% for them.
You're probably lying. But even if you did, you can afford more than 10%.
Well, I don't really see how I can. I'm running an awful risk.
Yeah, how about us? We ain't gonna run into no federal beef for Button.
Well, boys, now, we don't want to argue about the thing. Maybe we can make a deal. What do you think is fair?
25%.
Split between you?
No, a piece.
Oh, come on, boys. I don't make anything that way.
Not much you don't.
Now, look here. I tell you what I'll do. I'll meet you halfway. Now, you know that your figure is a little too high. And you know that my figure is, well, maybe a trifle low. How about 15% fees?
Well, that's fair enough. Okay.
It's a deal then. Now, where do we start?
Well, I know a guy at a jewelry store.
I got contacts at several banks.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hastings.
Why, hello, Mr. Whaler.
How's the banking business these days?
Well, we're managing to stay open.
I guess that's something, eh?
It surely is, the way things are.
Mr. Hastings, I want you to meet a good friend of mine, Mr. Frank Gerard.
Well, how do you do, Mr. Gerard?
I'm glad to know you.
Mr. Gerard has some Liberty bonds, and he needs some ready cash for a little business venture. I thought possibly you could make him a short-term loan on his bonds.
Oh, I think that could be arranged. How much did you want to borrow, Mr. Gerard?
Well, I'd like to get as near the face value as I can.
And how many bonds have you?
$14,000 worth.
I see. Well, we could lend you $13,000 on that.
That will be fine.
For how long did you want the loan?
Oh, make it 60 days.
Very well. If you'll just step over this way, we'll make out the necessary payments.
Thus forging the signatures of the owners of the bonds, Wagner unloads thousands of dollars worth of securities. But he does not reckon on the thoroughness with which Liberty bond transfers are checked. For within a few days, Chief of Police Steckel of the Los Angeles Police Department receives a message which causes him to summon Lieutenant Lefty James, head of the gangster detail, into his office.
Lefty, some of those bonds stolen by Pretty Boy Floyd last spring are turning up here in town.
Yeah?
Yes. Downtown Bank made a loan last week to a man who posed as the owner of $14,000 worth of Liberty bonds. When the bank investigated the bond numbers, they found that the bonds he'd stolen from the Wyndham State Bank in Wyndham, Kansas, and that the rightful owner had never received them back. Now, I want you to go out and get the man that's unloading those bonds.
Yes, sir. Any angles on it?
Yes, the man that introduced to the bank was Mr. E.E. Whaler.
Oh, you mean that criminal lawyer?
That's the man. Now, I suggest that you shadow him until you get a line on his companions.
Yes, sir. I'll get on it right away.
For 2 days, Lefty James shadows Whaler, watches him meet with Cole and Wagner. Cole, he knows, is a former member of the Hastings gang in Kansas City, a man who has done time for forgery. With Wagner, he is not acquainted. Focusing his attention on Wagner, the unknown quantity, he explains his mission to the manager of Wagner's hotel, obtains permission to tap the wires to the fence's room, sits patiently hour after hour with earphones clamped to his head until...
Hello, Lefty.
Oh, hello, Steve.
Chief sent me up to relieve you so you could grab a bite of dinner.
Swell.
Heard anything?
Nothing important in 2 days.
Well, that's the way it goes. You never know.
Quiet. The call now.
Hello? Hello, Elmer. This is Elgin Cole.
Yes, Elgin.
I got a lead on a customer for some of those bonds.
Yes? Who?
Fellow owns a jewelry store over on Olive Street. Name's Nussbaum.
Good. How much will he go for?
Oh, $3-4 grand.
Fine. I'll meet you down at the place in about 15 minutes.
And bring those bonds with you.
Don't worry. I will.
Well, it sounds like business.
What's that, Lefty?
They're going to try to unload some stuff on old man Nussbaum, the jeweler. The old man Nussbaum's a friend of mine. Hand me that phone, will you?
Yeah. Here you are.
Hello?
Let me talk to Mr. Nussbaum, please.
Just a moment, please.
What a break this is, Steve.
Hello?
Hello, this is Lefty James, Mr. Nussbaum.
Oh, yeah, Lefty. How are you?
Fine. Hey, Mr. Nussbaum, do you know a fellow by the name of Elgin Cole?
Yeah, I fixed his watch for him a couple of times.
I see. Well, he's coming in to sell you some bonds in about half an hour.
To sell me some bonds?
Yeah.
But I don't want any bonds.
Maybe not, but you're going to act like you did.
What are you talking about?
Just this. I want you to do me a favor.
Well, I'll be glad to do anything I can, Lefty.
Okay, now when this guy brings these bonds in, stall him along and keep the bonds. Tell him you have to ask your wife about them or something.
Oh, what's it all about?
Well, you got to look at the bonds, that's all. I'll be right in after he leaves. Don't slip up on this, will you?
Well, I'll do my best, Lefty.
Okay, and thanks. All right, Steve. Hold down the stake here. I got a little checking up to do. Well, Mr. Nussbaum, did you get the bonds?
Did I get the bonds? Yeah, I did. And what a job it was. I had to tell 101 lies.
All right. Where are the bonds?
Right here. But you better not take too much time with him because he said he was coming back in half an hour.
I only need 5 minutes. Let's see. Serial number 618. 609, 10, 11, and 12. This should be Gus Nixon. That's all I need, Mr. Nussbaum.
Well, tell me, Lefty, what is it all about?
These are stolen bonds, taken in bank robberies in the Mideast.
Stolen bonds? Well, what'll I do when he comes back? Maybe he'll bump me off.
No, I don't think so. Tell him you decided not to buy them.
But he might decide to take me for a ride.
Just to be sure there's no rough stuff, I'll post one of the boys outside.
Well, I'll feel better that way.
Okay, I'll take care of it. And I want to thank you for your help.
Glad to help you any time, Lefty. Only next time, don't let it be mixed up with gangsters.
Okay, Mr. Nussbaum.
James checks the serial numbers on the bonds with the Treasury Department in Washington. Quickly, he receives a reply.
Well, Chief, I'm on the right track.
Well, how's that?
Washington reports that the serial numbers of those bonds this fellow Spaulding was trying to sell were stolen from the Neosho, Kansas State Bank.
Great work. When are you going to arrest him?
As soon as I find out how much of the stuff he's got with him.
Yeah, that's right. We want to reclaim as much of the property as we can.
Yes, sir. I'm going to stick on that tapped wire, and as soon as I get a chance, I'm going through that bird's room. Gotta work fast, Steve. Tell the hustler this guy'll be back.
The desk will tip you off when he's coming up, won't they?
Yeah, but that might be any minute. You go through his suitcase, and I'll go through the drawers in his dresser. Well, there's a nice, shiny automatic. Papers, letters addressed to Elmer S. Wagoner in Oklahoma City. Apparently, Spaulding isn't our boyfriend's name. Elmer S. Wagoner. Make a note of that. Find anything, Steve?
Did I? Look here.
Briefcase, huh?
Lucky it's unlocked, and there are $3,000 bonds in it.
Fine, we got all we need.
When are you going to knock 'em over?
I'm not. Hey, what are you taking that briefcase for?
Why, we'll need that as evidence.
Oh, no, we won't. Put it back where you found it.
Well, what's the idea, Lefty?
Simple. I'm going to give our Mr. Wagoner enough rope.
I don't get you at all, Lefty. Letting that guy go?
I'm not letting him go, Steve. What good is he to us with only $3,000 worth of stolen bonds on him? If we pinched him now, we'd never locate the rest of the stuff.
Oh, I'm beginning to get it.
Wait a minute. There's a call coming in.
Hello, Wagoner. I just called up to say goodbye. When are you leaving? On the 8 o'clock plane tonight. Be back soon? Yes, in about 2 weeks. Bringing some stuff back with you? Sure thing. How much? $200,000. I'll have the customers for you. All right, Whaler. See you later. Go along, Elmer.
Well, Steve, there you are.
What's that?
Mr. Spaulding, alias Wagoner, leaves tonight for Oklahoma City on the 8 o'clock plane. He's back in 2 weeks with $200,000 worth of stolen bonds. Better than arresting him with $3,000 on him, isn't it?
I'll say.
Now, look, Steve. I'm going to stay on this wire till he checks out. There's some things I want you to do.
Yeah, what's that, Lefty?
First, see that the cab that takes Mr. Wagner to the airport is driven by a copper disguised as a cab driver. You tell him not to let Wagner out of sight till he takes off. Then have him report to me at headquarters.
Right.
Wire the Oklahoma City authorities. Tell them to shadow Wagner from the moment he lands and tip us off when he leaves for Los Angeles again. Okay?
Okay.
So quite without knowing it, Elmer Wagoner leaves Los Angeles with a police escort. Every move he makes is reported to Lefty James by the Oklahoma City authorities. Finally, on August 5th, James receives a long-distance call.
Hey, Lefty, Oklahoma City calling you.
Well, hope it's good news. Hello.
Hello, Lieutenant James?
Yeah.
This is Moffett in Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah, Moffett. What do you got for me?
Your man Wagner just left Oklahoma City by plane for Los Angeles.
Great.
He's carrying a black bag with red trim.
Okay. When'd that plane get in here?
Arrives at 4:35, I believe.
Thanks a lot, Moffett. I want to congratulate you boys over there and the way you've helped us.
Not at all. Glad to do it.
Okay, old man. If I can return the favor sometime. Goodbye.
Right.
Come on, Steve. We got a date at the airport. Hey, is that the plane from Oklahoma City coming in?
Yes, it sure is.
Okay, Steve. Keep your eye peeled for a black bag with a red trim.
Right.
The guy that carries it'll be Wagner. You all set?
All set.
Hey, they're rolling the steps up now.
The door's opening.
Now, there he is. First one out. He must be in a hurry. Come on, Steve. Just a minute there, friend.
Well, you speaking to me?
Yeah. I want to have a little talk with you.
Yeah, I'm in a big hurry.
Not that big a hurry. You're under arrest.
What?
Snap the bracelets on him, Steve.
Say, what is all this about?
Charges of receiving stolen property.
I don't know anything about this.
You come along quietly?
Very well, but I'll clear myself. Why, this is ridiculous. I never heard of such a thing.
All right, all right. Well, Mr. Wagner, now that you've had some time to think it over, what have you to say?
Nothing. I'm innocent, that's all.
About those $91,000 worth of bonds in your suitcase.
Oh, those? Well, I can explain those.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Well, they belong to a friend of mine. He asked me to bring them to Los Angeles for him.
Stolen bonds.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. How do you explain that?
Well, as a matter of fact, I knew that they were stolen, but my friend gave them to me.
What was your friend's name?
Well, I just knew him by the name of Babe.
Now, listen, Wagner, stop lying. We know all about you. Been on your trail for weeks. You got both of your accomplices, Elgin Cole and E. Whaler, in jail right now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Dumb me up if you want to. Let me tell you this. You've got a case against you can't beat. They're placing you under a $100,000 bail. They're going to hold you right here till they put you away for good. Well, there you are. Take it or leave it. The case is so good we don't even need a statement from you. You're in a spot. You're going to the pen. No amount of lying can save you.
And Elmer Wagner did go to the penitentiary, along with his pals Elgin Cole and E. Whaler. All three of them are serving terms of from 22 to 32 years in McNeil's Island. Thus did Los Angeles help in the downfall of the Pretty Boy Floyd mob. The final chapter in the activities of this infamous gang of hoodlums was written only a few months ago when Pretty Boy Floyd himself died from a bullet inflicted by a dying officer who had fallen before one of his murderous bullets.
Thank you, Captain Horrell. Ladies and gentlemen, truth is stranger than fiction. Every broadcast of Calling All Cars tells a true experience from the lives of the police who use Rio Grande cracked gasoline in their daily work. And Rio Grande's advertising is true, too, for we can prove any claims made for cracked gasoline. It is absolutely true that only in Rio Grande gasoline can you get all the benefits of the patented Sinclair cracking process, the very last word in petroleum refining. It costs you no more. Try it tomorrow.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars. Attention all cars. The cancellation of broadcast number 81 regarding a hot bond mob operating in Los Angeles. This gang is now in custody. That is all. Berg.
For a description of next week's broadcast, read the Calling All Cars News. Get your copy free from any Rio Grande service station. This is your narrator, Charles Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for the Rio Grande Oil Company.
June 11th, 1935, Calling All Cars on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you for making us a part of your day. You're going to hear a lot of different shows during the summer months because radio was different in the summertime of the golden days of radio. Quite frankly, it was a different time, and a lot of those shows took the summer off. But we ask you to thank this station, support their advertisers. Their kindness and courtesy allows us to be with you each and every Saturday here at this time. And we also hope that you'll take a moment. If you miss a day, you don't have to miss a show. We're not just here on Saturdays. We're here 7 days a week with the greatest radio shows that you can hear at Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, Amazon. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, or through my webpage, classicradio.com. classicradio.stream. You can learn more about me and get in touch with me there. And you can hear our shows there, classicradio.stream. Have a great weekend. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.